Rowan's phone buzzed at exactly midnight. It wasn't a notification he recognized. A mysterious link appeared in his feed, marked simply, "Click if you dare. This subreddit only appears after midnight." At first, Rowan thought it was some kind of joke, one of those prank links that people share to get a reaction. But curiosity gnawed at him, and before he could think it through, he clicked on it. The moment his finger made contact with the screen, a strange chill ran down his spine. The page loaded with an eerie slowness, like something was trying to hold it back. When it finally appeared, the design was unusual, a completely black background with cryptic white text scattered across it. The subreddit's name? The Forgotten Subreddit. His breath hitched in his throat. This was no normal subreddit. The posts weren't like anything Rowan had seen before. They were unsettling, chilling stories. Stories that felt real, too real. Some even had photos attached to them. Dark alleyways, abandoned houses, cryptic messages scribbled in the margins. But the most disturbing thing was the message at the top. "Once you see us, you will never be the same." Rowan couldn't look away. Something about this felt wrong. He tried to scroll, but the phone screen froze for a moment, almost as if the device itself were taking a breath. And then, a new post appeared, directly addressing him. "Rowan, we've been waiting." The air in the room grew thick, suffocating. His heart hammered in his chest. He hadn't typed his name anywhere. How did they know him? Was this just a prank? Or was something more sinister at play? Rowan's fingers hovered over the screen as his mind raced. He tried to convince himself it was just some bizarre coincidence or a highly advanced prank. But deep down, he knew something was off. The words weren't just appearing randomly. They seemed to speak to him in a way that felt deliberate, personal. His heart thudded against his chest as his eyes scanned the latest post. "We see you, Rowan. We know you. You can never leave once you've entered." A cold chill swept over him, and for the first time that night, Rowan felt something primal, the urge to run. But his body froze. He was paralyzed, his hand still glued to the phone as if it had become a lifeline. His mind screamed to shut it off, to stop reading, but his fingers betrayed him, scrolling down the page, unable to resist the pull of the subreddit. The posts grew darker, more unsettling. The images began to shift, subtly at first, but gradually they started to become more distorted. Faces flickered in the shadows, their eyes black voids, staring right into him. Every time he tried to look away, the faces seemed to follow, as if mocking him, daring him to leave. "You can't unsee us. You've crossed the line." His pulse quickened as the realization hit him. This wasn't just a joke, and this wasn't something he could simply escape from. Rowan's phone buzzed again, but this time, the screen flickered with an almost malicious intent. A new message appeared. "The Forgotten Subreddit is more than just a page. It's a doorway. Once you enter, there is no exit." Panic surged within him, and Rowan felt his body go cold, the walls of the room closing in. His breath came in short, shallow gasps as he tried to make sense of what was happening. Could this be real? Or was it some kind of psychological experiment? But no matter how he tried to rationalize it, a sinking feeling in his stomach told him that he had made a grave mistake. With trembling hands, Rowan tried to turn off his phone, but it wouldn't respond. The screen remained fixed on the subreddit, mocking him with its silence. He pressed every button, swiped frantically across the screen, but nothing worked. The phone had become unresponsive, like it had locked him in. "Welcome to the Forgotten Subreddit, Rowan," the message now read. "We see you, and you will never leave." Suddenly, the room seemed darker. The lights flickered, casting long, unnerving shadows across the walls. Rowan's heart raced as he looked around, feeling a creeping sensation that something was lurking in the corners, watching him. He could hear whispers now, faint at first, but growing louder with each passing second. They were indistinct, like the murmurs of a crowd, but they seemed to be saying his name. "Rowan, Rowan, you're ours now." The whispers weren't just in his mind. They were real. He could hear them, and he could feel them closing in, surrounding him. Desperation surged in his chest as he finally ripped the phone from his hands, tossing it across the room. The whispers died down for a moment, but the unease remained, lingering in the still air like a presence. Rowan rushed to the door, but as soon as he touched the handle, it wouldn't budge. The door was locked from the inside, trapping him. He backed away from the door, his breath shaky and uneven. The room felt as if it had shifted in some subtle, unrecognizable way. It was no longer the safe, familiar space he'd known. It felt foreign, haunted. The walls seemed to close in, and the air grew thick with a sense of impending doom. The phone buzzed again, shattering the silence. Rowan turned to face it, even though he had no intention of picking it up. It was as if the phone were a puppet, controlling him, pushing him towards something he wasn't ready to face. Slowly, he walked toward it, his every step filled with dread. When he picked it up, the screen flickered one more time, revealing the final message. "You will never forget us, Rowan. You are one of us now." His vision blurred, and the room seemed to spin. It was as if his mind was being pulled into the depths of the phone itself, merging with the dark forces that had taken control of him. But then, in that moment of overwhelming panic, something shifted. A calmness washed over him, as if the darkness had decided to release its grip, just for a moment. Rowan sat down on the couch, feeling exhausted. The phone in his hands went silent, and the whispers that had once echoed around him faded into a stillness that was almost soothing. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. It was as if the nightmare had ended. The shadows had retreated, and the room felt normal again. Peaceful, quiet, the way it had been before all of this madness began. Rowan looked down at his phone. The subreddit was gone. The link he had clicked on had vanished, and there were no more cryptic messages. He looked around the room once more. Everything seemed fine now, but the nagging feeling remained, a strange weight in his chest. A question lingered in his mind. What was real? The stillness was comforting, but it couldn't erase the chill that ran through him whenever he thought about the subreddit. The memories of what he had seen, the faces, the whispers, they weren't just going to disappear. Rowan placed his phone down and leaned back into the couch, breathing deeply. The night had returned to normal. The fear had passed, but he knew he would never be the same. The forgotten subreddit had marked him, and he would never forget it, no matter how hard he tried. As he sat there, he realized that the feeling wasn't as terrifying anymore. In some strange way, the darkness had become a part of him, something that would follow him, always present in the back of his mind. But it was peaceful now, almost calming. The threat had subsided, for now at least. The question remained, though. Would you dare click the link? Or would you stay far away from the forgotten subreddit? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling stories.